If someone doesn't value you anymore, try these 12 ways. When someone doesn't value you, instead of letting it affect your life, you can take strong steps to reverse it and put yourself in the spotlight. People sometimes forget that they can lose someone valuable without realizing their value by showing apathy, but with the right strategies, you will show them how valuable you are, and that nothing about you can simply be achieved. Today, we're going to share with you 12 effective methods you can use to make someone feel your worth and regain their attention. With these tactics, you will not only realize your worth, but you will also come to a situation where they will be afraid of losing you. 1. Harness the power of silence. Your silence is stronger than words. Your feeling is often that it is not your anger or your words that shakes it, but your silence. Because people often notice that something is not right when they are apathetic. If you constantly follow him and question why he behaves the way he does, he may underestimate you even more. But when you remain silent and unresponsive, you show him that he has no effect on you. And that's when he starts to review his own behavior. Silence is not a method of punishment, but a strategy to raise awareness. It makes him question the value he gives you, while at the same time making you respect yourself. Constantly making statements is why this is the case. Asking him if he's behaved or forgiving him even though he's treated you badly will only make him take you for granted. However, you give the message that you do not deserve your silence. When you do not speak or explain unnecessarily, that person has to think to himself, and often people reveal that they cannot tolerate silence. Also, silence creates mystery. If I know you as someone who talks all the time and reacts in every situation, he will feel incomplete. Human psychology often values what it cannot reach. If you withdraw yourself by remaining silent, that person is subconsciously. He will feel the need to win you back because he will realize that he is at risk of losing you as a result of the low value he used to give you. Finally, silence gives you strength. Arguments and unnecessary explanations wear you out emotionally, whereas silence provides an inner balance. When you don't react emotionally to their actions, you take away their power to influence you. This gives you the upper hand psychologically, and when you manage to stay silent, that person will start trying to communicate with you. Because silence is often the biggest factor that triggers emptiness and restlessness in people. By the way, if you like the video and subscribe to our channel, you will support me in the most effective way. 2. Withdraw completely. When you feel that someone doesn't value you, you may instinctively want to try harder. It may be tempting to text, initiate conversations, or pay more attention to them to get their attention. However, this type of behavior often backfires and makes you look less valuable than you are, whereas the opposite approach is the opposite. That is, withdrawing completely can trigger the other party's fear of losing you due to human nature to make me feel more valuable than something I face. He makes too much difference. So the most effective strategy to regain importance in his eyes is to pretend that you are completely out of your life, that you have completely withdrawn, that he is used to, disappears, that he has been used to, that he has been constantly texting, who shows his interest. When you disappear suddenly, there is a big void in his subconscious. Human psychology is sensitive to sudden changes. If you are the person who is always with him and you suddenly disappear, this situation is in his mind. I wonder if something has changed. It is at this point that he begins to think about the possibility of losing you. Because people often notice absences, not presences, withdrawing is one of the most powerful ways to prevent him from underestimating you and regain his interest. This strategy is very important, not only for the effect it has on him, but also for you. When you withdraw completely, you free yourself from being dependent on his attention. He becomes aware of his own worth. He becomes emotional. If he doesn't, you'll already know he's not the right person for you. Remember that withdrawing completely is not a passive waiting. On the contrary, it's turning to yourself and living your life to the fullest, regardless of his attention. Strengthen your social life, set new goals for yourself, and move forward in a way that you don't feel the lack of it, so that even if there is a possibility that he will return to you, you feel that you are no longer obliged to him. If it comes back according to your rules, and if it doesn't, you've made room for 3. Remember and be reminded of your self-worth. When you feel that someone does not value you, you may tend to question yourself and think about your shortcomings. Questions such as, what am I missing? Why does he treat me like this? May occupy your mind. However, what you really need to do is not to get caught up in these questions, but to realize your own worth. Remember, how others treat you does not determine who you are. Instead of surrendering to someone who makes you feel worthless, be conscious of your own worth and make them feel it. You are already valuable, and someone who does not realize this value will be the losing party. The most effective way to throw away your own value is to pay attention to how you treat yourself. If you constantly feel in need of someone else's attention, you have become dependent on him. However, the real value is not taken from the outside, it comes from the inside. When you respect yourself and maintain this respect, the people around you have to treat you in the same way. If the other person underestimates you, you also have to treat you in the same way. Instead of acting on how they see you, you should set your own standards. If someone is ignoring you, try to prove your existence to them. Instead of trying, turn his absence into an opportunity and strengthen your own life. The most effective way to remind others of your own worth is to show that you are not dependent on it. When you stop shaping your life according to it, their perspective on you will also change. People are generally more attracted to people who are not dependent on them. If you're constantly chasing someone, it makes you look less valuable than you are. But if you continue to move forward, strengthen your social life, improve yourself, and invest in yourself, that's when people's respect and interest in you increases. Because the fear of losing you is much stronger than someone taking you for granted. Finally, remembering and reminding yourself of your own worth is more than impressive. It's love for yourself, and as a sign of respect, people can tell you are always alone. So prove yourself to someone who doesn't value you and focus on your own happiness. When you see yourself as valuable, those around you will understand your value. It's not their lack. Fourth, initiate physical and mental transformation. When you realize that someone doesn't value you, see yourself as an opportunity rather than feeling incomplete or physical. And mentally renewing yourself not only changes your perception in his eyes, but it also radically transforms how you feel at the same time. Sometimes people make us feel a certain way. They underestimate our value because they are used to seeing it in the mold, but it is large. When you go through a change, it can shake up these habits, forcing them to rethink a new style, a healthier lifestyle, or a different level of self-esteem. Physical transformation that can radically change the way he looks at you. Changing your hairstyle is a reflection of the importance you place on yourself, wearing new clothes, maintaining a better posture, or playing sports, feeling more energetic and attractive, as well as your mood. It both raises and causes those around you to see you in a different way. If people are sensitive to noticeable changes in your world, if I look well-groomed, more confident or energetic, they underestimate you. Your mood is now a thing of the past, which makes you feel like he's lost. The mental transformation that can cause you to regain interest is wonderful. It creates a lasting positive of someone who you are normalized by his words. It's time for yourself to see don't let it dictate your behavior. Acquire or set goals that will challenge yourself. Discover your confidence and a strong mind boosts your self-esteem, and you no longer expect the attention of others instead of giving you the power to determine your own value, physical and mental. The biggest advantage of transformation is not to impress it, but for yourself. If you make this change to get his attention, you still have to do it. You become dependent on external factors, but you begin to transform for yourself. When you start, everyone's view of you will change, and the best part is that the person who once didn't care about you will be able to make you the same as before. He can't continue to take you for granted when you're no longer sketching. He may want to win you back with your new and strong self, but you don't want to. At this point, it's much more about who is really worth staying in your life. You will know well. Make your own rules. How others see you when you act by the rules in your life, and you leave it up to them, but when you make your own rules, you show others how to be treated and make them feel like you deserve respect. If someone doesn't value you, it's usually because you don't stretch your boundaries too much or don't center yourself enough. By setting your own rules, you can no longer tell yourself how others should treat you. If you are constantly forced to change the way people look at you when you put on the shapes. If you're trying to conform to someone's expectations, they will underestimate you over time. But I don't put up with it. That's the priority for me. When you set clear boundaries by saying those who do not want to lose you, comply with these rules. If you want to see value, you have to provide value to yourself first. You have to give it how you let it treat you. In fact, it is a reflection of how you see your own value. If you constantly compromise and put your own wishes in the background, people will do the same. It makes it a habit. Whereas when you make your own rules, you make the rules of others. You'll prevent him from underestimating you. You can't talk to me like that. The priority for me is like this. You should create a draw with clear statements. It is no longer worth you when you do this. Those who don't will not find as much space in your life as they used to. Those who really care about you. Finally, you will respect your boundaries while you set your own rules. Not only to impress others, but also to build a sense of self-respect. Is by. No one cares about you more than you care about yourself. If you don't put your own happiness, peace of mind, and values first. Others don't do that anymore based on how others see you. Set your own standards instead of acting and don't compromise on them. When you do, people value you more instead of belittling or underestimating you. You'll have to give. 6B, inaccessible. Being available to someone all the time makes you ordinary. If a person underestimates or doesn't value you, it's one of the reasons people may be that you are always there for him. They often don't understand the value of things we haven't put effort into, so someone. One of the most effective ways to regain his interest in you is to give him easily. Not being able to reach is to retreat from time to time instead of constantly being ready. It creates mystery and makes you more attractive by not responding to messages immediately, not responding to calls instantly, and not being constantly visible on social media. Available at any time if it indicates that your life does not revolve around it. If you make it feel like you are, people may take you for granted and make your presence if you take it for granted, but the feeling of wonder that you disappear from time to time. The question of what the trigger is doing is the person you think has lost interest in you. The important thing here is that it will start to pull right again while doing this naturally. To be sincere and to be really focused and engaged in your own life, you have to be unreachable, not only physically but emotionally as well. It is to take an independent stance, constantly revealing your senses, his interest. If it is more effective to remain mysterious from time to time, rather than striving to attract in the past, if you are constantly showing your feelings to him, it will also make a difference if you suddenly withdraw. His effort to reach you changes the dynamic of the relationship and makes you. The important thing is that this is not a game, but an indication of your self-worth. Not only does it increase your interest, but it also boosts your self-confidence. Instead of putting someone else at the center of your life, you should focus on your own goals and happiness. Only when you stop being available to someone at any moment. Remember that you increase your value in your eyes and not in your own eyes. The attractive people are those who emit light at all times. 7. A more attractive aura. What impresses people the most is what they emit, rather than physical beauty. If someone doesn't value you as much as they used to, it's about yourself. How you feel about an attractive aura can also be directly linked to creating is not only about changing your appearance, but also about changing your mood, and it is possible to increase your energy, a confident, happy, and strong posture. The people you exhibit are naturally drawn to you because you have a strong energy. It creates an irresistible charm and attracts the attention of even those who underestimate you. Helps you regain self-confidence is the most important of an attractive aura. When you're a confident person, people make you more. They take it seriously and reconsider how we treated you from your stance. Everything down to the way you speak should reflect your self-confidence. Keep your head up. Hold eye contact, speak clearly and confidently. Own. When you stand up for your decisions and values, people will come after you. It's important not to project it outwardly, even when you feel worthless, because people have to think about you based on your opinion of yourself. Shapes. Happiness is also one of the cornerstones of an attractive aura. Instead of someone who constantly complains, thinks negatively, or seems unhappy with life. Focus on being someone who enjoys people to be around happy individuals. Because positive energy is contagious in a room with high energy. When you are a friendly and cheerful person, you increase people's interest in you. A person who takes you for granted. A person who no longer sees you sad or disappointed, but strong. And when you move forward in a positive way, you will begin to regret it. Finally, the secret to creating a strong aura is to raise your own energy, take up new hobbies, add new experiences to your life, and always have more aim for the good to be physically well-groomed. Taking care of yourself and taking care of your clothing will also increase your attractiveness. But the most important thing is to discover your inner strength. When you feel strong and valued, those around you will begin to see you as such. And that's when those who underestimated you will realize what a great loss your absence is. 8. Leave him alone. When someone doesn't value you as much as they used to, the biggest mistake that is usually made is to put in more effort. Constantly trying to get his attention, texting, spending time with him, making excuses, but such efforts often backfire when people always lose their hands. He struggles to appreciate the things that are underneath him, but instead makes him entirely his own. Staying silent, walking away, and waiting for him to notice you is a much more effective method than you think. He needs to feel your absence in order to understand if you are constantly chasing him. If you leave, you won't even have a chance to question your existence. Suddenly, they won't disappear. What does it mean to lose the interest that the person who underestimates you, that they are lost? He begins to understand why he is no longer interested in me. It shows him how valuable your attention really is. Due to human psychology, they do not question what they have, but when they lose it, they make an effort to win them back. It is very important to be patient when implementing this strategy. You should really distance yourself from him instead of waiting for an immediate return. Focus on your own life, discover new activities, and stop being interested in what he is doing. Avoid constantly sharing things about him on social media. That way, you will give him time to realize what he is really missing when he is away from you. Remember that the best way to get him to run after you, withdrawing completely and finally leaving it alone, is not only a strategy, but also necessary for your own happiness if someone is worth it. If not, continue your life by valuing yourself instead of pursuing it. You need to take a step back and focus on your life. He will realize that he really doesn't want to lose and make an effort, or he will already be yours. It will turn out that he is not the right person for you. Either way, you will be the winner. 9. Set your boundaries clearly. People learn from you how to treat you if someone doesn't value you. And don't stay silent either. You're unwittingly allowing them to go on like this. But when you set clear boundaries, the other person learns how to relate to you. One of the most important steps to take control of your life and protect yourself is not to let anyone treat you disrespectfully or indifferently. Setting boundaries, pushing people away, or it doesn't mean distancing. On the contrary, health is the cornerstone of relationships. Ask yourself this question: how do I want to be treated? If someone constantly puts you on the back burner, responds to your messages late, does not respond to your efforts, it is up to you to change it. Identify the behaviors that cause them to take you for granted and do not tolerate them anymore. For example, to someone who is always making plans with you at the last minute, I like to plan ahead. To act without a plan like this. You can draw a boundary by saying that it is not suitable for me. After setting your boundaries, loyal to them. It is very important that you stay if you set limits once and then back down. The other person doesn't take you seriously. For example, if someone treats you indifferently, and if you say that you also keep your distance, but when he shows some interest, immediately behave like before, it would be violating his secrets, not to give messages to others. It's meant to show your self-respect when when you finally set boundaries. People feel the fear of losing you more deeply because now you are that you value yourself, that you know what to accept and what not to accept. Someone who castles you sees that you are not what they used to be, that they will take the risk of losing you more seriously. Choose to move on with people who respect your life and time because you deserve to be with people who deserve you. 10. Cut the emotional bond. Someone doesn't value you, becomes emotionally detached from them. Although it may be difficult in the beginning to hack and realize your own value, it is the most important step to take on the way. If a person is constantly emotionally, if it puts you in a difficult situation, it is your duty to constantly value and invest in it. It hurts your emotional health at this point. Your emotional investments it should be done to people who are valuable and respectful towards you. Cutting the emotional bond does not indicate that you are emotionally weak. It indicates that you are strong and that you respect yourself. If someone is your exploit your emotional energy and make your relationship healthy, it is only when you dedicate yourself to it that it is necessary to bring its worth to you. Not only do you realize that you don't, but you also realize how valuable you are. You realize that in this type of relationship, one party is constantly putting in more effort, while the other party is indifferent. It exhausts you emotionally when taking this step. When I say cutting the emotional bond, it does not mean completely excluding that person. The goal is not to get emotionally attached to it and not feel dependent on it. If someone is indifferent to you, you can always expect something from them. Direct your emotional energy to yourself instead of putting yourself in a difficult situation. By focusing on yourself and setting healthy boundaries, you can make sure that the relationship is right for you. Question that. He is not emotional to him if he lacks interest in you. Stop showing interest as finally cutting yourself off the emotional connection. It makes you feel more empowered when caring about someone, if that value is draining you. Severing ties with that person brings you true freedom and peace. When you start investing in yourself, your self-esteem increases and you are real with you. People who are interested in the sensorize. It's not just for your emotional health, it's also an important step for your quality of life. Cutting the emotional bond. It actually means adding more love, respect, and balance to your life. 11th, use social media strategically. Social media is a great way to express yourself, and it is a powerful tool to connect with those around you. However, using these platforms, use it strategically in order to impress someone who doesn't value you. It can be an effective method, especially when you look happy, engaged, and strong. You can increase the awareness of this person by sharing. Such posts both reflect your quality of life and trigger the fear of losing you. In the event that someone doesn't value you, you're constantly emotionally aware of their. Instead of pursuing it, you can use social media to make yourself strong and independent. Displaying it in a way offers him the opportunity to rediscover you. For example, when you share fun moments with your friends at the event or create a new hobby. When you share content that shows that you are dealing with it, this person realizes how colorful and full your life is. When you show yourself busy and happy on social media, that person no longer sees you as an easily accessible person. It is important to reflect not only your life outside, but also your inner strength in your posts mentally. Content that is healthy, self-confident, and has a strong stance is both worth it to you. In this way, it attracts the attention of the person who does not give it and makes them respect you. Social media showcasing your strengths and sending a message of independence. It becomes an excellent tool to help you cut emotional dependency, and it helps you feel stronger. Finally, social media. Strategic posts made over are only about influencing the other person. Not only do it also make you more attractive and valuable to the people around you. When you consistently show yourself in a positive and strong way, you will begin to notice the indifference you show to this person, and in fact, do not really appreciate anything, craving you more and more for fear of losing them. In this case, being mysterious is the most effective, not to give him the opportunity to unravel you. It's one of the strategies that people can't figure out and don't understand. They have a natural curiosity. 12. Be mysterious. Being mysterious increases the other person's interest in you because it leaves them in suspense, and this curiosity can turn into desire. Being mysterious means not revealing everything at all times. For example, your every move, every thought, on social media or in your daily life. Hiding things instead of sharing them, surrounding yourself with secrets. It drags the other person into a constant search when you find yourself full. If you make it look like a puzzle that can't be solved, that person will always make you look like a puzzle. It takes more effort to discover that it revolves around you. Being mysterious is not only about withholding information, but also about being emotionally distant. If you constantly share your emotional states, thoughts, and wishes, you will be able to the person can think about how clear everything is with you. But sometimes what? Not revealing exactly what you think, what you feel, constantly. Sometimes you leave some distance as it causes you to pull towards you, because the other person to show you more value on a subject you don't understand. Finally, being mysterious can make yourself truly valuable and special. It's a strategy that makes you feel your value when a person knows everything about you. But if it decreases, it always leaves a little mysterious. Sometimes it gives a hint, but if you don't always let it fully unravel, that person will constantly make you. He begins to want more, which changes the dynamics of the relationship.